Hello, it is Monday Night Football. Bears are playing, as you can tell. Big Chicago fans on this channel. This is going to be our weekly whiskey news. This is our live cast. Now, normally Mark Hagan will be joining us, but he is busy getting prepped to watch the game. The game is on downstairs, muted. I am waiting to go watch it here in just a moment. So this will be a pretty quick newscast. We're going to talk about couple of big things that happened this past weekend. Bourbon and Beyond happened this past weekend. I'm going to pour a little bit of the Westport Whiskey and Wine 10th anniversary Russell's Reserve for you all. Beautiful sound. Okay, so Bourbon and Beyond happened this weekend. It was great. I went. Great bands, great atmosphere, great talks. The Bourbon Pursuit guys did a bunch of great talks. Fred Minnick did a bunch of great talks. The whole thing was incredible. One thing stands out, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But let's go into the BTAC. The Buffalo Trace Antique Collection was announced just after we did our last podcast, just after I did the review for the Bellmead Honey. Let's go down the list really quickly. They're interesting this year. Of course, we've got the standard lineup. W.L. Weller, William LaRue Weller, 12-year. Thomas H. Handy, Sazerac, 6-year. Sazerac Rye, 18-year. George T. Stagg, 15-year and 3 months. Eagle Rare, 17-year and 3 months. Now, Eagle Rare, interestingly, sticking with the 101 proof that they changed to last year, going back to the traditional bottle. And the proofs are really the interesting thing this year. George T. Stagg coming in at a staggeringly low 116.9 proof, the lowest proof that it's ever had. And it's been falling since 2016 when it hit the Hazmat 144.1. Ever since then, it has been falling. The 2018 was 124.9. That's behind me. I don't remember what the 2017 is. I pulled that bottle. That's my least favorite of those three. So we'll see. Just the 2018 is incredible. Just because the proof is low doesn't mean it's terrible. It'll at least keep it interesting. They did not release the number of barrels, so we couldn't do an exact calculation. Well, not we, but when Breaking Bourbon does their calculations, they didn't reveal it. So there's not really a way to calculate how many bottles there will be this year. Beyond that, it's not super interesting. Sazerac, of course, is the 90 proof 18-year. That just hasn't been, people love it, or people love to buy it. Hasn't been a really interesting release for a while. The Handy is always a fantastic pour. That's actually in our rye lineup, which is over there on the other side. That's always a fantastic pour. William LaRue Weller coming in at 128 proof. That's going to be an incredible pour. I guarantee it. And once again, you can hear my son beside me. He is getting ready to watch the Bears too, in his Bears gear. Dropped his little lovey. So let's talk about the big news. This came out of Bourbon and Beyond with Fred and the Bourbon Pursuit guys on stage. Preston Van Winkle reveals that the Van Winkle family hired lawyers to target the secondary groups. I'm going to take a sniff of this to build up to this. God, Russell's picks are so good. They are the underrated. I don't know if they're underrated, but they are kind of underrated pours that are out there. They're incredible. They're single barrels. Let's talk about this. No good comes of them hiring lawyers to go after the secondary groups. If that was them, if it really was, there's no way to verify that. It's a good thing that, again, they're doing that, but they're not going after retailers who price gouge. So my question becomes, what's the difference? Groups are still running. All the groups are still running. Well, they're just smaller, broken apart into different smaller groups. MeWe groups are still running. Retailers don't get it. And when they do, most of the times they're charging significant amounts of money, well over retail. You tell them, buddy. Man, that is a great pick. Chris Zaborowski over at Westport Whiskey and Wine does incredible picks, and this Russell's is no exception. They're not going after retailers. They're not going after distributors. the distributors are almost like a mob in and of themselves. And, they'll never say that they're forced to prominently display Wheatley vodka in order to get their distribution of Van Winkle products. And they're supposed to move as many cases of Wheatley vodka and Fireball as they possibly can in order to get their allocation, their 2 bottles or their 4 bottles or whatever it is. I mean, anytime I walk into a store and Wheatley vodka is on the main display, that they're trying to get a larger allocation of Buffalo Trace products. You tell them, buddy. I completely disagree with what they've done, and I think their image is now forever tarnished within the enthusiast group. Their image is definitely forever tarnished within the enthusiast group. Van Winkle products have not been the same since they've not been Stitzel-Weller. Their quality is just not. I mean, they're good. They're good for retail. I have, the 10-year back there. I've got a 12-year. I've got another 12-year. But the rest of it is just trade bait. I mean, the 15-year is probably the best in the lineup. The 13-year rye was incredible until they dropped it and came back. I haven't tried the 13-year rye in some time. I tried the pour last year. It was not. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was okay. Their products aren't the quality. And for them to go after these groups like they're somehow affected by it, their products came to huge provenance, came to huge prominence because of the secondary groups driving up the prices, driving up the scarcity of the Van Winkle products. And for them to go after them like it's secondary's fault that you can't get Van Winkle, that's ridiculous. I think that they really need to step back and take a hard look, because that statement by Preston came off as just shitty, just absolutely shitty. There's no other way to say it. I think Fred went pretty hard after them, and I think that was well done on his part. The distributors share more, if not all the blame, basically these days for the ridiculous prices. They do so many sketchy things behind the scenes that, it was an awful statement. It came off poor. It looks bad on the Van Winkles. It looks bad on the Van Winkle lineup, which already has its own weird, is Weller the same thing? Our store pick, Weller 107 is better than the 10-year Rip Van Winkle, and you can get them for significantly less. Is Weller 12 better than Lot B? Certainly in some years. They've had, I want to say it was 2017, the 20-year came out, and it just tasted like cigar ash. So for them to be acting all high and mighty when the distributors face so much of this blame and they'll never come out after them, it is ridiculous. Exactly. With that, this is going to be a short stream. Like I said, go Bears. Watch the game. Enjoy yourselves. Drink great whiskey. Have a good night.